man. It's great to be back with you. Appreciated that birthday cake from you and your wife. That was unbelievable. One of the best that we've had this year.
Absolutely.
And it's good to see you. We just had a good day of practice. The guys are here. They're ready. They're hungry. And, we've had a good week of work.
Good. We'll dive into the X's and O's in just a sec. But I was just trying to take after you what you did to Gary Vitti.
I think the cake that you guys made was 10 times better than the chocolate thing I pulled out of the oven in L.A. 20 years ago.
I'm just glad you weren't as skeptical about my cooking as he was about what you were bringing to him.
Oh, I trusted yours. Gary didn't trust mine. Gary thought I put X-Lax in it or something.
Coach, how have things been so far this season? We're about midway through conference play. How do you think the team and how have you been holding up?
Well, I've been obviously with COVID. It's been a unique year. Early in the season in the non-conference, I think it was probably I'm not sure how many games we had our full roster, but it wasn't very many. But I was proud of our guys for getting out there and battling, for competing. Played a really tough schedule with BYU, Utah, getting Weber State scheduled. But I was happy with the level of competition. I was happy with the focus. I was happy with the determination of our players and the fortitude to deal with 7 separate quarantines.
Crazy.
It has been crazy. It has been crazy. You know, we decided to play St. John's 2 weeks ago. We went out there and played them in a tough game. It was a close game for a lot of it. It didn't go our direction. But then I watched them play last night, and they're a strong team. They're a good team. Even though we lost the game, it was good for our team because it helped us learn how to better handle pressure. It helped us learn how to play against, tremendously smart and athletic players as well.
Now, you knew one of the members of the coaching staff for St. John's?
Yeah. Paul Pressey and I were on staff together at the Lakers for 2 years with Byron Scott. That was actually Kobe's last year. And so there's a relationship there. And there's other relationships between our program here at UVU and the St. John's program. And so I think it really came together well for both teams because we both had a week where we needed a game. Otherwise, you get stale.
Absolutely. Again, you're listening to the UVU Coaches Show presented by the UVU Alumni Association. Brandon Crow here with head coach Mark Madsen. Now, Coach, again, we'll dive into this upcoming week with Dixie State in just a second, but this being a Monday after the Super Bowl, usually that would take place in the middle of the season. Do you have any Super Bowl watching party memories in the NBA?
I'm trying to think. Actually, yes. We were in Detroit. We were playing the Detroit Pistons. We were there. This was also Kobe's last season. And the Lakers rented out a big ballroom. We watched the Super Bowl. They catered in some amazing food. And it was just fun it was a lot of fun to sit there and watch the Super Bowl with Kobe and just get his take on football. In fact, I think the last 2 years I was there as a coach, I think we may have watched the Super Bowl on the road 2 years in a row. I'll have to go back and look. Or it was a Super Bowl and a playoff game. But, it was fun for me to be around Kobe, to watch him analyze and scrutinize the game of football the way he would the game of basketball.
Like what?
Well, I mean, analyzing certain players. And I'm not going to go into detail of which players.
Sure.
But there was one player who did not have a good game, and Kobe was all over him. Kobe was all over him. Because, look, Kobe is someone who has dealt with pressure on the court his entire life. And so I think he would look at other players dealing with pressure to see how they reacted.
And I think it was just a couple of years after he retired when his beloved Eagles won. I saw his wife posted a recent video about him, and just seeing him analyzing that from his own house was fun to watch.
He has a great mind.
Now, you did grow up playing multiple sports. In football, you were tight end,
yep.
And then basketball eventually took over. But what did you learn from other sports that brought you that used to help you in basketball?
Well, a lot of things. I played rec league soccer. I played junior high basketball, and then I got to my freshman year in high school, and I went out for the football team. I made it, and I always got nervous towards the end of practice because they did conditioning. And, you know, you get tired, you get exhausted, you feel like you're going to throw up, all those things. And so there was one day where I was totally fine. But I went to the coach and I said, hey, I have a strained calf. I pulled my calf. And I didn't have to do the running, but I felt so guilty about that. And that was the first and the last time I ever faked an injury when it came time to do conditioning. And so these are the types of lessons that you learn in sports. I'm grateful for sports. I'm grateful for the freshman year football team. I'm grateful for basketball because you learn conflict resolution. You learn communication. You learn how to use your words when you're upset. And you learn how to get along with people. Any basketball locker room, you have 13 to 18 young men from all different backgrounds, and you come together and you learn from one another.
I just spoke with Evan Cole about this, and looking from where we are now, from where we started this year with 16 newcomers, where do you feel like this team chemistry is at right now?
Team chemistry is an interesting thing because there are ebbs and flows, there are ups and downs. There are going to be some practices where there may be a scuffle, where there may be high emotion. There's other practices where everyone is each other's best friend. We have tremendous chemistry here. Because even on the tough practices, we're able to get through it. Even after the great practices, guys still come back the next day ready to compete incredibly hard.
Take us back about a week and a half ago, Coach. Tarleton split the series. You had a great outing the night one. It shut down their top scorer. Then he came out like an upset bee and just came out and stung you guys. What is it that you learned from that series?
I think one of the big things is that we talked about with our group after the game and in the film sessions that we did the next week was the importance of defending the three-point line. In the first game, we held Tarleton to, I think it was 3 for 11 from the three-point line, maybe 4 for 11. But I think it was 3. It was 3, as a matter of fact. In game 2, they made 9 threes on us, 5 of which were open. For us to be the team we want to be, for us to go where we want to go this year, Brandon, we must defend the three-point line. That has been a hallmark in our wins, is we have guarded the three-point line. And so that was something that we got a little bit lax. We had some mental breakdowns. We didn't execute what we needed to execute, and we got the result that we got. Now, obviously, it did not help that J.J. Overton left the game with injury in the first half. And so that, there were some things we had to overcome regardless. But I still think had we played better, we could have overcome. Give credit to Tarleton. Give credit to Coach Gillespie. He's a heck of a coach. He's been doing this a long time. And in studying his games, he's a very sound coach, X's and O's wise. And his team plays very hard.
We got Dixie State coming into town this week, another in-state rival, and this one's going to be more long-term as they are new members of this conference. What are you expecting from this matchup this weekend?
I'm expecting this to be an emotional matchup. I'm expecting this to be hard-fought. Look, they're watching tape on us. We're watching tape on them. I'm incredibly impressed with Dixie State. They just had a tremendous win on the road against California Baptist, who is a great team. They played Grand Canyon. Really tough down the stretch. Almost had a win against Grand Canyon, who's leading the conference right now. And so when you look at Dixie's roster, they really have it all. They have the inside game. They have the outside game. They have a point guard in number 12, Gooden, whose speed is just it surpasses a lot of teams that we've played this year. He's a bolt of lightning out there. He's a breath of fresh air with his energy and the way he commands his team. You have Hunter Schofield, who has local ties, who can shoot the three. He can go down on the block and bang you. He'll dive on a ball he'll dive on a loose ball to secure the possession for his team. He plays with tremendous ability. I could go on and on about the Dixie State team. They are very good. They are very well coached, and they play very hard.
Last question here for you, Coach. Now, what have you learned about yourself as a coach so far in your tenure?
Well, Brandon, I would say this. I would say that I had a conversation with Mike Montgomery about a month and a half ago. And he was mentioning the tough things about coaching and that it's tough to lose a game. And that is true of any coach in any sport. It is tough to lose because when it's all said and done, if the team loses, if this team loses, it's on me. It's on me. And so there's when you win a game, it's a great feeling. If you lose a game, it's a feeling of, okay, let's get in the trenches. Let's break out the film. Let's look and see what happened and the corrections we have to make. And Mike Montgomery in this conversation, he said, that bitter feeling after a loss, it'll linger with you for a day or two. And it's just, the sun doesn't shine as bright. The birds aren't singing as peacefully, but it does plant a spark inside of you of, how am I going to fix this? How are we going to fix this? And our players feel the same thing. And that I think is one of the beautiful things about sports. You experience success, you experience failure, and you have to learn how to deal with both.
Thank you, Coach. As always, again, this has been Coach Mark Madsen on the UVU Coaches Show. You're a busy guy, and we appreciate you taking the time.
Brandon, really appreciate the opportunity to come on the show, and look forward to seeing you on the road for some of these games.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more right after this on ESPN 960.
25 years. Amazing moments. Amazing crowds. Game winners.
The Wolverines come from behind.
Support Utah Valley Athletics. Donate $25 to celebrate 25 years at the UCCU Center. 500,000 visitors witnessed athletic achievement at the UCCU Center. Support UVU Athletics today.
How does Costa Vida create the ultimate sweet pork burrito? We start by following our award-winning recipe, one that calls for everything to be made fresh, from scratch every day. Like our beautifully braised pork, seasoned beans, savory sauces, and delicious cilantro lime rice. Even our tortillas are cooked to order. It's a difference you can taste. Treat yourself to the ultimate sweet pork burrito, only at Costa Vida.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the UVU Coaches Show presented by the UVU Alumni Association. It's our time now to chat with the player from Utah Valley men's basketball. Today we're going to chat with Evan Cole. Evan Cole, first and foremost, do you miss the Dirty South right now?
I miss the Dirty South food, that's for sure. There's nothing quite like the food in the South.
It doesn't get this cold down there, though.
It does. It's a different type of cold. We just don't get the snow. We get the wind, though.
Oof. What's the Southern comfort food that you miss the most?
Probably just the good old Georgia barbecue.
Like what?
Like pork, just cornbread, just the basic, ribs.
I made some cornbread for Coach Jackson the other day. Did he share it with anybody?
No, he didn't.
No. Okay, we got to have to talk with him about that. Yeah, cornbread's my thing. I'm not from the South. I'm from Southern California, but I love me some cornbread. So do you have a ritual like pregame meal that you try to do to remind yourself of your home?
Normally we get fed for pregame, so normally it's just spaghetti and meatballs, which, that's probably one of my favorite foods, so I'm perfectly okay with that.
Do you have the bread too, like garlic bread?
Oh yeah, we have garlic bread. Normally just go like Olive Garden or Noodles and Company, so it's some good food.
Okay. Now, you are a true Southern man, so you're an expert when it comes to the Southern food. What is up with all these crazy wannabe chicken joints up here? Like, which one is the most authentic?
The most authentic, you got to go Chick-fil-A.
Okay, you're a Chick-fil-A
don't forget
guy?
where Chick-fil-A started. That started in Atlanta. That's right in my hometown.
Okay. What about Popeyes? Popeyes legit?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
It's right. It's up there with Chick-fil-A. Just Chick-fil-A's got to be number one.
I was lucky enough to go to the Masters a couple years ago. So that's the only time I've ever been to Atlanta, to the airport or anything. That airport is crazy. It's like its own city. But what was it like growing up in Atlanta? What was it like? Obviously it's embedded into hip hop culture. I was a DJ for 10 years, so I love the music scene in Atlanta, but you always have to respect the basketball scene. So what was it like for you growing up there in the ATL?
Atlanta's got so much culture, from hip hop artists just to really anything, man. It's just, it's one of a kind. It really is. Playing basketball in Atlanta for the last 3 years. I've met 10 plus rap artists, and they come around here and play basketball with us. And
For real?
yeah, so I mean, you don't have that really out here in Utah, but I still like Utah.
So who have you met?
The Migos would come down and hoop with us. Quavo, Offset, all of them. You got Sway Lee. He performed for us at the Georgia Tech Stadium. You got Lil Yachty, Playboy Cardi, Lil Uzi, Gucci, Young Thug. You got a lot of them.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
All right, now which one of those guys is your guy? Your guy.
My guy, I'm probably the closest to Lil Yachty. He came to one of my high school games a while back, so
Cool.
that was cool.
I'm old school. I'm a little older than you, so I love Luda and Outkast. Outkast is like one of my favorite groups of all time.
Yeah. That's a little bit before my time, honestly.
Okay. All right, so now Ev, who growing up playing basketball, is there somebody that you thought in your mind you're like, okay, when I'm watching a game, that to me is the prototypical basketball player. That's who I want to pattern my game after.
Yeah, for sure. Blake Griffin.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I can't tell you how many times I'd lower my basketball goal to about 8 feet and just try to be like Blake Griffin, dunk like Blake Griffin. Back in those Lob City days when he's with the Clippers, and man, he was my role model back then.
Have you had the chance to see him in person?
I haven't.
No.
He's getting a little older now. He's not quite as athletic, but he was definitely someone I wanted to see when I was growing up.
Is there a certain Blake Griffin moment or a poster or a dunk that is like your all-time favorite?
There was one on a fast break where he had a 360 and just dunked all over somebody. Oh, it was mean.
Yeah, I remember. So again, being from Los Angeles, Lob City was big, but I'll be completely honest, ain't nobody were true Clippers fans. Everybody was still a Laker fan, and the Clippers at the time were just the cheaper option coming off of the season tickets. With the Lakers being so expensive, but when Lob City came, that was like a whole new thing because Kobe, my guy, was on his way out, and so the team wasn't doing well. But Lob City just took it to another level. And I remember we went. My buddy worked for the Clippers, and so he got us tickets when the Heat came in town with LeBron and Wade and Bosh. And I just remember seeing LeBron pick up his dribble from like the 3-point line and Euro step and up like finger roll. And I'm like, how can somebody do that? And then two possessions later, Blake Griffin called for the ball and just went like baseline and posterized Chris Bosh. And I was like, how can anybody do that? It's just like with those dudes, I mean, it's just a walking highlight reel.
Oh, for sure. I bet that was a game to see.
Oh, it was crazy. So how have you felt like your game has grown from when we're watching Blake Griffin growing up in high school, your time at Georgia Tech to where you are now at Utah Valley?
I mean, my game has changed a lot. And that came with just the different role changes because at Georgia Tech, my role wasn't as big. I embraced my role there as being an energy guy, coming off the bench, just giving us a spark every game. But, here there's a lot more responsibility. So, I mean, my game has changed a lot. I scored at a higher level here. I rebound at a higher level. I just more responsibility just to be a leader, especially on this team where there's a lot of transfers, and I'm one of the older guys on the team. So, I think Coach recruited me here to be a leader, and my teammates voted me team captain, so that was really special. Probably one of my proudest achievements thus far. Just my teammates, choosing me to lead the team.
Why? Why is that so monumental for you?
I mean, just like your brothers, everybody on the team, they thought I could lead the team the best. So that was just really cool to see. There's a couple other team captains like T Wood and JJ. So, it's just just my teammates choosing me for that responsibility just means a lot.
Be completely honest here. This is judgment-free zone. But had you heard of Mark Madsen before he reached out to you?
Yeah, I have. So I played high school basketball with Colby Layson.
Okay.
So he kind of gave me the rundown of Mark Madsen, and one of my assistants at Georgia Tech also played with Coach Madsen back at Stanford, Eric Reveneau. So he
Gotcha.
And I asked him Eric Reveneau about it, and he kind of gave me the rundown on Mad Dog.
What did he say?
He was just like, man, he's the most positive dude you'll ever meet. He plays his balls off when he gets on the court, but he's a good coach, and it's exciting to see what he'll do at Utah Valley.
What have you learned from him personally about your own game?
I mean, he brings an insight that you can't really get from a lot of college basketball teams. I mean, a guy who played in the NBA at my position, you can take a lot of his experience and use them in your last year, and just moves in general, NBA basketball moves. I mean, the list goes on and on of what all the experience he's had in the NBA.
This team that you're a part of, Evan, is a team unlike any other really in the whole NCAA sphere. 16 newcomers all put together over the offseason. It's crazy to see from the outsider's perspective how much you guys have really kind of gelled and grown together. Do you feel like all the adversity you guys went through last summer with COVID and the season to where you are now has really helped you guys gel to where you are?
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, you have 16 new guys. I mean, that's unheard of. But I feel like when we got here from the start, we really kind of just meshed real easily. And as the season started, we had our struggles, which I'm sure every program has. Just kind of a weird season with COVID, and I think with the adversity and all, we kind of had a moment after the Weber State game where we said, you know what, something's got to change. We had a players meeting, which I think is more important than any coaches meeting you can call. And we kind of just talked about it and, figured out some changes that we need to make and really play for each other. And I think that's really helped us moving forward. And I think it's going to give us an opportunity to play basketball to win the the WAC championship. So it was really special to see just the team, playing for each other and just kind of taking that next step in the middle of the season.
Obviously, last week or a week and a half ago, really, Tarleton State split that series. Had a great outing night one, then night two just didn't really click. Learning from that game and the other games that you guys have lost so far this season, as we head into really the heart of conference, what is it? We'll start with just you, but what is it that you are trying to look to improve on, and then what is it with the team?
For me personally, I think it's consistency. I've had, a season high of 31 points, and I've had a season low of, I think, 0 points. So, I mean, it's just consistency with me. One thing you can do is you go out there and play hard every single game. Scoring might be up and down, but I just got to be more consistent and just going out there and playing as hard as I can.
And what about the team?
For the team, we're 4-1 in conference. We dropped that one at Charleston State. We didn't want to drop, but we still decide our own destiny. We went out, we win the WAC championship. It's simple as that. So, I mean, that's the way I see it, and that's kind of the way I've seen it with my teammates. We decide our own destiny. We learned from that Charleston State game. They pressured us, got us out of our offensive stuff. But I think we can learn from that, and we're looking to win out these last 8 games.
All right, last question. Because if I had a genie, this would be one of my wishes, would be able to have the bunnies that you do and be able to just go baseline on somebody. But I just want to know from your own perspective, when you're out there on the court, can you see in your mind a dunk happen before it does?
For sure. I mean, you can see it in my face if you're down there close to me. When I see a lane open up, my eyes just light up. I just want to dunk on anybody who steps in my way. As a kid, I used to just love when people dunked, and I just want to give that energy back to the crowd and kids, I guess.
Well, you gave it to me, and like I said, that poster that you have from a couple weeks ago against California Baptist, I'm going to bring it to you so we can sign it before you go. But it's one of my all-time moments as being a broadcaster, so thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that was Evan Cole. We'll take a break here on the UVU Coaches Show, and we'll be right back with more after this on ESPN 960.
At Intermountain Healthcare, we understand that broken arms haven't stopped. Babies continue to be born, emergencies continue to happen, and doctor visits are still needed. At Intermountain Healthcare, we've put the measures in place to safely care for you in these difficult times. So please don't put off the care you need, especially for stroke-like symptoms, chest pain, difficulty breathing, or other urgent care. We're here for you. Visit intermountainhealthcare.org/here-for-you to learn how to get the care you need.
Some people see just another local Utah sports app. Oh, wait, what? A local Utah sports app? Introducing the new KSL Sports app, powered by KSLSports.com, Utah's only all-in local sports app, connecting you with all the action you love, the latest news, insider analysis, podcasts from the pros, and so much more. Free. Available right now, anywhere you are. Download the free KSL Sports app today from your favorite app store.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the UVU Coaches Show presented by the UVU Alumni Association. Brandon Crow with you here, as always, on ESPN 960. And today, it's been a while. It's been a few weeks since we've been able to have everything go according to plan. But we got our main guy back. Kyle McDonald from WACHoopsDigest.com is here to join us. Kyle, how you been?
Been very, very good, Brandon. Very good. It was went to Phoenix last weekend to cover the GCU New Mexico State series in Phoenix, and I guess I shouldn't say it's good technically because I was supposed to be in South Texas this past weekend for UTRGV GCU, but we know how COVID kind of wrecked that. But overall, we're good. We're good.
Now we'll dive into the WAC just a little bit here, but Utah Valley, we'll start with them like we always do. Last week they split with Tarleton. They won the first game on Friday, lost the second game on Saturday, and then this past week they had a bye. This upcoming week, Kyle, they got Dixie State, another tough team inside the conference, a new team into the conference, and another geographical rival as they are from down south, about 3.5-4 hours away, down the main highway here in Utah from Utah Valley. What are you expecting from this Dixie State team? What have you seen from them this year? What do you think that they're going to do to Utah Valley?
The biggest question is, can Dixie State win 2 games in a row? I shouldn't say in a row, on back-to-back nights. Because one night they'll look like $1 million, and the next night not so much. I mean, they beat Seattle this past weekend by a point on Friday night, and then Saturday night they got blown out by 21 points against Grand Canyon. They were in the first game on Friday night, even though they lost, and then Saturday it was a blowout. UTRGV, they get blown out in the first night, then they get, they had a chance to beat UTRGV the second night. It's just brutal. And even John Judkins, their head coach, said it last night after their loss on Saturday night in their loss to Seattle. He said, right now it seems we can't play 2 good games in a row. I don't know what it is, but we have to try and figure it out how Seattle U came out with more energy than we did tonight. And that's the biggest question. Can Dixie State put it together on back-to-back nights? We know that they can beat people, and we know they can compete at least one of the nights. But the question will be, can they put it all together for both nights? And so far this year, their first year in the WAC, we haven't seen that. Cameron Gooden's one of the best guards in the WAC. They have some depth issues on the interior. And if you slow down either Frank Stain, Cameron Gooden, or, one of the 2 big guys, Jared Green or Hunter Schofield, that's going to be key for Utah Valley. But, John Judkins, one of the best coaches in America that people really don't know about. He's a winner. And, Dixie State's a competitive basketball team that's scrappy. They like to grind things out. And, it'll be interesting because, like you said, that rivalry is kind of renewed from the JUCO days. It's an I-15 rivalry where the schools are separated by about 4 hours. It's going to be an exciting series this weekend for Utah Valley and Dixie State.
From what you've been able to see as far as on-the-court schemes go, who is Dixie State comparable to?
Oh, that's a Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't really have an answer for that because they're so different on each night. Like they're not really a go inside, pound the ball in the paint type team like Grand Canyon is, but they're also not a team that relies heavily on the guard scoring 20 plus points a night like California Baptist is. People will say I'm nuts for maybe making this comparison, but kind of like New Mexico State in a sense, where they can score from different areas. They don't really have that guy that's going to put up 20, 30 points a game every night. They're going to depend on different guys to have big nights. That's the best way of putting it. They're not solely dependent on one thing to really get them going. They have to, as a group, as a whole, have to play well in order to win.
Now, on the other side, what we've seen from Utah Valley, we've all obviously seen some really great things. 4-1 at the start here of this conference play, but they didn't play their best game against Tarleton. Granted, J.J. Overton left the game with an injury with his right arm, but just kind of sloppy on that Saturday night of the back-to-back against Tarleton. What does Utah Valley need to do to get better so that they can continue to improve and to really excel in this conference?
So I think Tarleton kind of exposed the Wolverines in a sense in that win over Utah Valley, with regard to the fact that if somebody plays 4 guards against the Wolverines, they'll have a chance to beat the Wolverines, because as much as talented as Evan Cole is, he's not necessarily quick enough to guard a guard. And that's what kind of Tarleton did, was they played a lot of guards and made Evan Cole have to come out and guard. Even their biggest guy, Jonathan Jackson, didn't necessarily play in the paint. He played in the perimeter and made Fardaz Amac come out and guard him. So if you get some team like that, which Dixie State could do because Hunter Schofield can shoot the 3 ball, that's something that they'll have to figure out how they're going to manage that when a team goes with 4 guards and maybe 1 big, but that big can stretch the floor. The other thing is Utah Valley can't come into any game ever and think that, we just have to show up and play and we're going to win this game. Tarleton kind of showed them you can't do that. I mean, think about this, Brandon. Tarleton has 5 wins on the season. 4 of those are against non-Division I opponents. So every game against Division I opponents, the Texans had lost up until that night at Utah Valley. So the mindset has to be there. The killer instinct has to be there, taking care of the basketball. But that's where that killer instinct comes in. We're going to execute flawlessly. We're going to hit the shots that we need to, and we're going to win this game, because that's just what we do, is we execute, we are focused, and, we're just going to flat out play better than other teams. And I think that's what Utah Valley's mindset has to be when they play Dixie State.
Going across the WAC here, Kyle, we're about almost the midway point through this crazy COVID basketball season here, and still, anybody really stand out to you as a lock?
Well, Grand Canyon's kind of put themselves above everybody else right now with that sweep of New Mexico State. I mean, yeah, they still got to play UTRGV. They were supposed to play them this past weekend, but that got canceled due to COVID issues in the GCU camp. But, I mean, GCU's kind of put themselves out there. They still have, like I said, still play UTRGV, and they finished the season hosting Utah Valley. So, who knows what could happen between now and then. New Mexico State finally got on the win column in WAC play on Saturday night with a dominating win over California Baptist. Nobody's really – here's the problem, Brandon. COVID is creating all kinds of issues where we don't get to see consistent basketball. Like, it would have been great to see UTRGV and GCU play this weekend, because if GCU sweeps that, there's no doubt that they're the favorite to win the WAC right now, because UTRGV is a good basketball team, but Grand Canyon would have swept them and New Mexico State. So COVID is wreaking havoc. I mean, we saw what happened the weekend before with Tarleton splitting with Utah Valley, Dixie State splitting at California Baptist. I mean, I think COVID is an issue. These back-to-backs kind of don't really put everything in perspective, per se. And, I mean, it's going to be anybody's game up until March 5th and 6th when everything's kind of finalized. So the worst part is people will say, well, the WAC's not that good because you don't have any teams that are doing this. I'm sorry, but the WAC is good. That's why there's so much parity in the conference right now. So when people start discussing that, like, they don't take into the account that, well, this team's bad because this team beats them, no, it's because both teams are pretty darn good and they played a high level, and it's going to be a fun, February into early March. Let's just put it that way.
All right, Kyle, excellent. Thank you as always. We'll leave you with the parting question here. What are your expectations come this weekend for Utah Valley and Dixie State?
Well, I mean, there's going to be a lot of variables. Okay, if Jamison Overton's shoulder or elbow is healthy, I really expect Utah Valley to come out just guns a-blazing and they should take care of business because on paper they're the better team. The only question I have besides the Jameson Overton elbow, who else will step up? You know, we know that Fardaws Amac, Evan Cole, Trey Woodbury, and Overton can score. Who is going to be that fifth guy, whether it's Jordan Brinson, Blaze? And I think we say this every week, Brandon, when we do these coaches shows. Who's going to step up besides those four? So that'll be the big question. Dixie State, you know, how physical will they be able to be because they're not really a deep team? Can they shoot it from the outside? I mean, that's been one of the causes of their losses is they struggle to shoot the basketball at times. Cameron Gooden should have a big weekend, though, because I don't think there's a UVU guard that can guard him unless, you know, Mark Madsen puts Jameson Overton on Cameron Gooden. But, you know, Utah Valley has the advantage in the paint. You know, guard play, I think they have a little bit more of an advantage because of how athletic and quick Trey Woodbury and Jameson Overton are. But I just don't want to count out fully a Dixie State team because John Judkin's just a great coach.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it, my man. You're going to be there this weekend in person? Where are you going to be this weekend?
Yes, I will be in Orem for that series. I don't have any more travel plans this year because it seems like every time I come up with a travel plan, either games get canceled prior to me leaving, or games get canceled while I'm there, or games get canceled after I've been there. So, I'm going to stay in Orem this weekend so that we don't run into those problems.
All right, then, my man. Then we will see you this weekend. See you Friday. See you Saturday.
Sounds good, Brandon.
All right, that was Kyle McDonald with WackHoopsDigest.com. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back to actually hear from UVU women's soccer head coach Chris LeMay as the Wolverines open up their 2020-2021 season this past weekend. This is the UVU Coaches Show on ESPN 960.
At UCCU, we do mortgages fast.
Seriously fast. Just use your phone or computer to fill out UCCU's super easy mortgage application.
You'll receive an instant pre-approval before you start shopping. Your completed mortgage file will be underwritten by UCCU's very own in-house professionals.
Like us.
Seriously fast.
Buying or refinancing a home has never been this easy.
Seriously fast and super easy.
It's what I do.
It's what I do. It's what we do. I love this view.
I love it every time this commercial airs. I get to drink another Mountain Dew.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us here off the pitch. First and foremost, since we last spoke, how many new pairs of shoes have you bought?
My shoe game's gone down.
What?
I haven't been able to get into a shop, you know. It's been hard. But I got a couple for this upcoming spring that will break out on game day.
So are you the type of guy that likes to try on the shoe, or or is it online for you, or how do you work?
Yeah, I do both. I mean, I do both. I mean, I know my size pretty well. I've got enough pairs. So it's not that I have to try it on, but sometimes when you're walking through the mall and you pass in Foot Locker, you know, you just have to. I just need those ones.
How many? Okay, so what do you have more, shoes or sunglasses?
Oh, shoes for sure. Yeah, and I mean, my last two schools, San Diego State and Cal, were both Nike, and then the youth club that I worked at in San Diego was Nike as well. So I've kind of got a split wall, half Nike, half Adidas. But it was 90% Nike, 10% Adidas when I took this job, and now it's starting to go like 60-40 Adidas. And my Nikes are kind of getting phased out. My son's feet are growing, so he's already, like, you know, tagged the ones that he wants. So
that's
kind of
awesome.
how we do it. Yeah.
Now, speaking of your son, you guys are very much involved in UVU men's basketball. Seeing you front and center with the cardboard cutouts.
Yep.
Is that something that you appreciate or that you have grown to love about being a coach at UVU's camaraderie, I guess, with the other coaches, or do you have any other relationships with anybody else?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely want to support each other, and we feel like the entire athletic department's growing, and the more support that we can provide to each other, just whether it's from a professional level or just a level of understanding what they go through because we live it too, I think is important. And yeah, the cardboard cutouts were cool. So I mean, I know that they provided them for all of us coaches, and so I wanted to get one for Van, my son, and then right next to me is my son-in-law. So that's the other one, and it's not his most flattering picture, which was kind of by design.
Yeah, we got a picture. We'll post that one in this video for people to see.
Perfect.
How is Van? Is he still playing hockey?
Van is, yeah, he's playing for the Junior Grizzlies. So it's his first year in competitive hockey, and he's loving it. Yeah, and then he skis on the snowbird ski team, on the free ride team. So I think his passion is in the skiing, but he enjoys the hockey too. But I think in the next couple of years he's going to have to make a decision which one. So both the sports that he likes most happen to be winter sports, so they do conflict a little bit. So we're up the mountain, then to the ice rink, and then to the mountain, and then so.
So now, Coach, for you growing up in Michigan, was hockey your first love?
No, I mean, no. My first love was soccer, definitively. I didn't play competitive hockey, but I was a guy that in our subdivision we had a pond, and after school in the winters the pond would completely freeze over, and we were out there all the time. So I did play a lot of hockey in kind of growing up, but it was always pickup. It was pickup hockey. It was all the neighborhood guys, and we had skates and sticks, and that's all we really needed. So, and, we brought a couple shovels out there and got rid of the snow, and that's what we did. So it was fun. It's a game that, looking back, especially watching Van do it, in a more organized manner, it's a game that I would have liked to have played. I think that I think I would have been an all right hockey player. So yeah, it's cool. We love it. We love supporting them in it.
Now, the last time we actually did one of these Zooms, I feel like it was almost a year ago, really. And you were saying that you were getting into the mountain activities as a family. Now, are you doing snow activities as a family too?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up skiing, but we were a ski family that would go up to the mountains, in northern Michigan. There's actually a couple of decent resorts, and then we'd go to Canada. But we were like family vacation, 1 week, a winter type skiers. We weren't like regular skiers. And then obviously when I moved to California, I would make my way out to Big Bear and Mammoth pretty often. And then when we went from San Diego all the way up to into the NorCal, we went to Tahoe. So we've one of the things that was exciting about Utah for us was definitely having the accessibility to the mountains and getting to ski more often. And the fact that Van's just fallen in love with it makes it easy. So he and I love to do it together. But I mean, to be fair, he's like surpassed me already. And it's like, so keeping up with him now is a chore, but it's been fun. Yeah. So we love the mountains. And I mean, during the summer, we love getting on the reservoirs and getting on the boat.
Good stuff. Now, Coach, what's it been like for the last couple months with you and your coaching staff? How have you guys been navigating these crazy waters?
Well, I mean, right now it's like light at the end of the tunnel time. I mean, we've already played an exhibition match, so the fact that we played a different opponent was the first time that we played a game in 14 months. We've been training hard. We trained hard all fall. So it's just, I mean, everybody's just rip roaring, ready to compete. And so it's been fun. I mean, we're off this weekend. We don't have any games scheduled, but the next weekend we're right back at Harriman playing against Southern Utah. And then after that, it's a short week because we head to play Florida Atlantic on Thursday. So we play Saturday, Thursday, Sunday. So 3 games in 7 days, starting next week. And after that, it just keeps going. I mean, then we're at UTEP, and then we're into WAC play, which is two games a weekend. So I think everybody's very excited. And I think what the way we've said it is that we feel like we have this like really cool like sports car, but it's locked in the garage and we can't drive it. You know what I mean? So it's like the team is a special group. They've been very committed. They've actually, I think, handled, every hiccup and every challenge and obstacle better than we could have even expected. And we're just excited to put them out in front of the fans, whether they're watching, online or can make their way to the stadium based on stipulations and whatnot. But like we're really, really excited about this group and not to be arrogant or anything like that, but just that they're really committed and they're special and they're fun. And we think that people are going to enjoy watching them.
Just from what you were able to see in the scrimmage against Weber, anything stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that we thought, like some strengths in areas that we thought we had, we proved that we did. But it was also, we thought there was some adrenaline in the game that probably skewed our decision making in some regards. It's like you haven't played for 14 months. Everybody's like almost overly excited to where like we had to be a little bit more composed at times. And I think there's more quality than we showed, especially in the final third. I mean, I think the stats were 22-4 in shots, but our only goal came off of a penalty kick. And that was because our final pass was not right. The runs in the box could have been improved. Our service at times was not quite there. And I attribute that to their surface is a different surface than we're accustomed to playing on. The size of the field's a little bit different. And just that we hadn't played. So I think that we were almost too excited. And I think that now that we've got that one out of the way and under our belt, I think that we're going to settle in a little bit more. And I think that, we'll be able to showcase, really some of the things that we think we're going to be special at. It is in the final third. And we just weren't on that in particular day.
You got a new breed of freshmen, some new faces to the program. Do you feel like a majority of them or a certain amount of them are going to make an immediate impact?
So, I mean, I'm just going off memory here. Bree Eve started on Saturday. Grace Beeston started on Saturday. So that's two freshmen. I know that London Miller played big minutes, another freshman. Nicole Ray played big minutes, another freshman. And the one thing you don't want to do is when you start naming kids is you don't want to forget one. So I'm trying to think, I'm trying to think of the other freshmen that contributed big time in that one. I mean, they're all talented, but yeah, I think we're going to have a handful of freshmen that I think will be challenging, all year long for starting roles. And certainly I think the good majority of the freshmen are going to come in and be impactful. So yeah, I mean, we're really excited about the new crew for sure.
You're entering your fourth season here at UVU. It's crazy to think that how fast time has flown by. What are some things that you have learned about yourself as a head coach during that time?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a soccer standpoint, the game's similar, whether you're an assistant or a head coach. I mean, the objective is to put the ball in the other team's net. But there's just so much more that goes into what you have to do in terms of just thinking about a lot of different factors, a lot of different, like what these players, sometimes I think maybe as an assistant, you don't pay as much attention to like just every component of what it takes to run the program and all the cogs that have to be working, properly for you to perform as a coach, but as a collective program as well as you can. And so I think that some areas that I've probably improved is just, paying a little bit closer attention to, just the details of what life is throwing at these players sometimes, whether it's relationships, whether it's, academics, whether it's, just the amount of things that they have to juggle in this world, in this time is things that probably as an assistant, I didn't pay as close of attention to that that I probably do a better job of now is not maybe because soccer is so important to me, and it is so important to these players, but not to just solely judge the players, based on their soccer ability, but more so, how they represent the university, the program, and the things that they're going through, and take all that into consideration, and maybe cut them a little bit of slack every once in a while if they have a bad pass. You know what I mean? Like maybe just understanding that there's more.
Last couple questions here for you, Coach. You mentioned your time as an assistant. How do you feel like your staff has grown together over the past several years?
It's again, like the one thing that, I mean, as you know, Brandon, I'm pretty straightforward. Like, you know what I mean? You ask me something and I just kind of shoot you straight. But so what I don't want to do is I don't want to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, we've got the best staff in the country, and have it sound like it's insincere or, inconsiderate to all the other unbelievable staffs. I just know that, like, I wouldn't trade my staff for anybody. I mean, I think that everybody on the staff, and the addition of Tasha has been massive. I mean, she's an alum. She's got an unbelievable goalkeeping background. She's got an unbelievable sports psych background, and she's brought some real awesome mental strength training activities that we put into place. I mean, we know who Seth and Kyle, I mean, the level of players that they were, and the experience that they bring in as coaches. And, to be fair, I mean, I think that, the biggest transition that I've seen is probably in Kyle, just because I didn't know him as well as I knew Seth prior to coming here. Like, I mean, when we brought Seth in, I was bringing in a guy that's won multiple, club national championships, has coached on the boys side in the DA, has played at every level of the game, and we coached together. And so I knew him. Kyle and I didn't know each other as well. And I just think that he's continued, he's always had the soccer knowledge and he's always had the experience, but I think he's really started to come out of his shell. And I think he's more vocal. And I know that the players really appreciate that, but I think Kyle has grown as a coach a ton. So yeah, I mean, and then, I think Alyssa keeps us all together, and she was the associate head coach my first season, and then, chose to take on a new role because they've got 3 babies, and, she's our director of ops, but she's still integral, a part of it. And, and then it goes, even beyond that with the support staff. So yeah, I'm thrilled. Like I think the staff is diversified, and I think I wake up every single morning excited to see the players and excited to see the people I work with. So, I mean, that's like, what more could you ask for?
Absolutely. Now, Coach, just based off of what you've been able to see, I know obviously the answer to this next question is going to continue to evolve as the season evolves, but heading into this season here, what are some of the things that you feel like your team needs to do to be successful?
I think we're going to be good when we have the ball. And so the areas that we have to focus on is, I think we have to be braver when it comes to balls in the air. I think that we have to be better when it comes to providing good service and getting on the end of service on the attacking side of it. Like, we're going to keep the ball well. We're a pretty good possession side. And then the defensive part of it, because we like to get, into our attacking shape, and we like to keep it so much. I mean, inevitably we're going to give balls away. And when we do, what does our recovery look like? And how good are we, to win the ball back quickly, or at least get numbers behind the ball, and not have, some of our giveaways become disastrous. And disastrous to us is, giving our opponents, just opportunities to score goals or worse off, scoring against us. So sometimes we can be our biggest enemy if we, just lose the ball in the wrong moments.
Excellent. Good stuff. Coach, we know you're busy. Appreciate you taking the time to be with us here off the pitch.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Brandon.
Absolutely.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Coach. You too.
We love the new apartment.
The natural light is amazing.
Hardwood floors.
There is a bit of a clogging problem.
At least Geico makes it easy to bundle our renters and car insurance.
Yeah, helping us save even more.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the UVU Coaches Show, presented by the UVU Alumni Association here on ESPN 960. Brandon Crow with you here. It's been a good show. We've heard from Coach Mark Madsen from the UVU men's basketball team. We've heard from Evan Cole. We heard from Kyle McDonald from WhackHoopsDigest.com. And we also heard from UVU women's soccer head coach Chris LeMay. Utah Valley women's soccer started out the season on Thursday of last week, taking down Florida Atlantic in Florida. Big time score, 5-1, and then suffering a heartbreaking defeat yesterday afternoon to Florida Gulf Coast. That one was in overtime, 1-0 was the final score there. Utah Valley suffering the defeat. So Utah Valley starts off the season as far as women's soccer goes 1-1, and their win on Thursday was the first time that only the second time really in their 18-year Division I history that the Wolverines started off their season with the road win. So big congratulations to Coach LeMay being able to go across country, playing against two really difficult teams amidst the pandemic, and then coming away with a 1-1 victory before they continue their schedule this week. We're going to wrap things up here, but first off, we did want to extend our condolences, our thoughts and prayers to the UTRGV family. Their men's basketball head coach, Lou Hill, passed away suddenly in his sleep on Sunday morning, and devastating loss, not only for the Hill family, for the UTRGV family, and especially for the WAC family as well. A tremendous competitor, a tremendous coach, and he will be missed, but his legacy and the teachings that he had and that he left with those that he was around will live on forever. So again, we just want to extend our condolences to the Lou Hill family, our thoughts and prayers with them and with the whole UTRGV community at this time. But that's going to do it for us here on the UVU Coaches Show for Monday, February 8th, 2021. Utah Valley hosting Dixie State this week. You can hear both of those games right here on ESPN 960, 6 o'clock Mountain Time on Friday and on Saturday. Jimmy McCullough will be on the call, and we'll have a pregame show with you right